Oh, hello to my YouTube subscribers. Well, about 6 or 7 weeks ago, I posted a video describing how to get your Thai tourist visa after July 1st, 2022. And over 3,000 people have viewed that video, and I've gotten a lot of questions, and I've learned a lot from answering those questions. So I thought I would share with you some of the things I've learned. Single entry tourist visa, or SETV, is good if you want to stay in Thailand for up to 3 months and you're not planning on visiting any other countries and returning during those 3 months. Now, with a multi-entry tourist visa, or METV, you can stay for up to close to 9 months, but you have to either want to or be willing to visit other countries during that time. So you can only stay in Thailand up to 3 months at a time on the multi-entry tourist visa. Then you have to visit another country and return. Your visit to another country can be very short if you can arrange your flights appropriately. You could do it in 1 day, but I think most people will at least do it overnight. And of course, it's a good opportunity to visit some of the neighboring countries and stay for a little while and have a nice visit. Now, when you enter Thailand on an SETV or an METV, your passport is stamped, and that stamp will let you stay for up to 2 months. After that 2 months, you have two choices. You can either go to an immigration office and get an extension, which costs 1,900 baht, and you'll have to fill out some paperwork, or you could leave the country and come back, which gives you another 2 months. If you do the 1 month extension, you can only get one of these extensions. So the longest you can stay at any one time in the country is the 2 months that you get with your stamp on arrival, plus a 1 month extension. So from this point on, I'll assume that you're applying for an SETV or an METV. To get that, you go to thaivisa.go.th. The first thing that you'll be asked is your purpose of visit. So if you're applying for an SETV or an METV, the answer is tourism/leisure activities. Make sure you pick the right choice here, or you might end up filling out the wrong visa form. So you'll be asked for your permanent residency or current location. Now, I suggest that unless you have a good reason, you supply your country of permanent residency. Since you're applying online, you don't really need to supply your current location. And it's more straightforward if you just supply your permanent residency. One of the first items you'll see is an item that says submit to. And this indicates the consulate to which you're going to submit your application. If your country has multiple consulates, then you need to choose the one that corresponds to your place of residence. For example, the state that's indicated on your U.S. driver's license if you're from the U.S. In the description, I put a link to a map that shows which consulate to apply for the state that you live in. If you live in a different country, just go to the website for the consulate or embassy for your country to find out if you need to apply to a specific consulate. This is important. If you submit your application to the wrong consulate, you won't get your application fee back. So don't make a mistake here. Okay, so we're far enough along in this video that I'm going to insert a very quick advertisement. I'd like you to consider buying my novel, The Vientiane Affair. It's available in ebook or audiobook format. It's a novel set in 1961 Laos, at the beginning of the CIA's secret war in that country. The story has politics, history, sex, violence, love, espionage. Actually, one of the viewers of my videos did read the book, and he was kind enough to post a comment about it. So I'm just going to read to you what he said about the book. So this comment is from Bill Muller, and he says, "Just finished The Vientiane Affair, a terrific book, great read. Highly recommend it. Would make a great movie. Love reading about this part of the world and the time and history the story was set in. Excellent job writing it." Well, Bill, thank you very much. I already told you in my comment that made my day to read this, and I'm hoping that other viewers of my videos will take a chance and read the book. In the description, you'll find links describing how to buy the book. Okay, let's go on now. So the time it takes to approve an SETV or METV can vary a lot. So I got a multiple entry tourist visa approved within 4 hours of submitting it. Other commenters have said 5 days. I think probably 2 weeks is pretty safe. The embassy says to leave 3 weeks. But if you're in a pinch and you want to get it quickly, it's worth trying it. The turnaround on this can be pretty quick. Now, to enter Thailand, you do need to have a proof of your COVID vaccinations, or you need to have a PCR or ATK test within 72 hours of your flight to Thailand. If you fail to do that, you still may be allowed in the country, but you may have to quarantine. Now, a lot of people have had questions about the proof of finances for both the SETV and the METV, and the requirements are different for these. So first of all, it's a requirement to have funds in the bank. It's not an income requirement. For the retirement visas, you have an income requirement. This is just money in the bank. And so for a single entry visa, the requirement is that you have $700 US during the 1 month period of the bank statement that you submit. So the idea is that the balance in that statement for the month should never drop below $700. So for the multi-entry tourist visa, the requirement is substantially stricter. They want you to have $7,000 in the bank for a period of 6 months, and you need to provide 6 months worth of bank statements in order to demonstrate this. Again, the balance can't drop below $7,000 for that entire period. Now, if you're coming with a family, you don't have to have that much money for each person in the family. There's a family rate, which is about double the single person rate. So it's $1,500 US for a single entry tourist visa for a family, or $15,000 for a multi-entry tourist visa for a family. If you're applying for the multi-entry tourist visa, you're going to need to submit 6 bank statements. If you download this from your bank, probably you're going to get this in the form of 6 separate PDFs. You're going to need to combine these into a single PDF, but that's easy to do. Just drag these into Word or Pages and then print that document. So you'll end up with a PDF that has 6 bank statements in it, and that's what you'll want to upload. The application asks you to supply a hotel reservation, and really you only need a reservation for 1 night. You're free to move to another hotel after that 1 night. They just want to know where you're going to be on that first night. Now, if you're not planning to stay at a conventional hotel or hostel, so for example, you might be staying with a relative, you might be staying in an Airbnb. So if you're staying in one of these places, it's not a regular hotel. You want to make sure that the person who owns that facility, they call that person the housemaster, you want to make sure that person submits a form TM30 on your behalf to immigration. That tells immigration that you're staying at this residence. Hotels and hostels do this for you automatically, but an Airbnb may not. So there have been cases where immigration has come after people because the address that they supplied on arrival didn't submit a TM30 form indicating that you're actually staying there. So very important, if you stay at an unconventional kind of place, you should make sure that your host submits a TM30 form on your behalf, or you might get a visit from immigration. So for a single entry tourist visa, you definitely need to supply either a round-trip ticket or a ticket to Thailand plus an onward ticket to some other country. So for the METV, the multi-entry tourist visa, it's a little bit different. The wording that they use makes it a little unclear about whether a return or an onward ticket is actually needed. And I haven't submitted return or onward tickets, and I've gotten my multi-entry tourist visas approved by just supplying my ticket to Thailand. So that's not true for the single entry visa, but so far that's been true for me for the multi-entry visa. If anybody has been denied a visa for this, please let me know in the comments. I think it's safe certainly to try it, because if they really want an onward ticket, they'll send you an email telling you that they want it. But I haven't had to supply it. Now, here's a question I've gotten a lot, and I can't give you a super authoritative answer on this, but I can tell you what I think. So a lot of people have been asking whether you can apply for a tourist visa from a country that's not your country of residence. So let's say you're a US citizen, but you happen to be in Malaysia traveling, and you want to get a tourist visa to go to Thailand. So when you apply for your visa, since you're applying online, immigration doesn't know, and I think they don't really care, where you are when you apply. However, when you do this, the ticket that you submit is going to have as its origin the country that you happen to be in. In the case that I just talked about, where you're a US citizen in Malaysia, you're going to be supplying, for example, for a single entry visa, you might supply a round-trip ticket from Malaysia to Thailand and back to Malaysia. As far as I know, this is perfectly okay. If you've done this and your visa has been denied, please let me know so I can update this video and update my viewers. So what this means is that if you want to stay for a while in Thailand, you could do this by leaving Thailand, going to Malaysia, and applying for a tourist visa. But again, I haven't done this, so I'd certainly like to hear from people who have done it so I can confirm that this is acceptable. Now, when you enter Thailand, your passport will be stamped for a 60-day stay, regardless of when you said you were leaving. So if your plans change and you want to stay a little longer, that's no problem. When you come in, you're going to get that 60 days, and you can stay up to that time, or you can extend with a visa extension. The single entry tourist visa is valid for 3 months from the date of issue. But all that means is that you have to enter Thailand within 3 months of the date of issue. It doesn't affect the amount of time that you're allowed to stay. So when you arrive in Thailand, say you arrive a month after the date of issue of the visa, your passport is still stamped for a 2-month stay that can be extended for another month. So it really doesn't matter what your date of issue is, as long as you enter within 3 months of the date of issue. Now with the multiple entry tourist visa, that visa is good for 6 months from the date of issue. So whenever you first enter Thailand with the multiple entry tourist visa, your passport will be stamped for a 2-month stay that can be extended for another month. And then you can leave Thailand, come back, get an additional extension. Now, if you re-enter Thailand just before the expiration of your multi-entry tourist visa, you get another 2 months that can be extended for another month. So if you enter Thailand soon after your multi-entry tourist visa is issued and you re-enter Thailand just before it expires, it's possible to get close to 9 months on your multi-entry tourist visa. And so that's one of the nice features of the multi-entry tourist visa. So in small print on the application for the multi-entry tourist visa, it says that if you're applying for a multi-entry tourist visa, you have to have a genuine reason for visiting multiple times. However, nowhere in the application do they ask for this reason. You don't need to supply it. You don't have to worry about this. Now, when your visa arrives, look at it to make sure that everything is correct on the visa. You'll notice that it's printed with the last name, first name format, and that's normal. That's not a mistake. Now, I mentioned the financial requirements for families. So if you're a family coming to Thailand on a tourist visa, unfortunately, you do have to fill out a separate visa application for everyone in your family. You sign the declaration item for your children. The financial requirement is the family financial requirement, so you don't need to have that amount in the bank for every person in the family. When you fill out the application, you're asked to provide a picture of the biodata page of your passport. Now, when you upload that picture, the application does an optical scan of that page of your passport, and they will fill in some of the fields in the application based on what's on your passport, which is very nice. You have to wait maybe 30 seconds or a minute for that optical scan to complete. So after you upload the picture, just wait a minute and you'll get a window that pops up describing all of the fields that were interpreted from your biodata page of your passport. Make sure that all of these are correct. The optical scan is notoriously buggy. So it's a nice feature, it saves you some time, but go through all the fields and make sure that they're all correct, because there's a good chance they may not be. Now, I've gotten a number of comments from people saying that somewhere on the form it asks for, let me read this, confirmation letter from employer, school, self-assessment, pension. Now, I didn't see this on the tourist visa. This might be on the special tourist visa. But if you're just applying for an SETV or an METV, this is not something that you need. So it seems possible if you're being asked for this, you might check to make sure that you're filling out the right application type. But you definitely, if you're coming on a regular tourist visa, you're staying at a hotel, you don't have to provide any confirmation letter. Okay, I suspect there are going to be more comments and questions that I'm going to get in the future. In that case, maybe I'll make another video. But these are things that I learned mostly through comments that people have made on the video. And I hope some of this information is useful. If you find it useful, I hope you'll buy a copy of my book, The Antenna Fair. See the description on how to order that. If you have questions about getting your visa, please feel free to ask them in the comments. I'm not an official expert, but I've had a fair amount of experience with it now. Have a great day and enjoy your trip to Thailand. You can see behind me the pool from the lovely Ibis Hotel in Patong Beach in Phuket. Happy travels. Thanks.